Inflammation is the body's natural response to injury or harmful stimuli, but when it becomes chronic, it can drive conditions like arthritis into a painful daily struggle. What most people don't realize is that this inflammation doesn't just live in the joints. It's part of a broader systemic imbalance that affects the immune system, the nervous system, and even hormone signaling. One of the most controllable variables in this complex equation is diet, and more specifically, the type of protein we consume has an outsized impact on whether inflammation is fueled or cooled. Recent clinical findings and molecular studies suggest that plant-based proteins not only offer the essential amino acids the body needs to function and repair tissue, but they also deliver compounds that actively suppress inflammatory pathways. This isn't about eliminating animal proteins altogether for everyone, but rather understanding the unique anti-inhibitory and joint supportive mechanisms of certain plant-based sources. To understand why plant proteins matter for arthritis, we need to look at the biochemical markers of inflammation. C-reactive protein, CRP, TNF-alpha, and interleukin-6 are consistently elevated in people suffering from osteoarthritis and rheumatoid arthritis. These proteins essentially signal the immune system to remain in a state of alarm, creating swelling, stiffness, and chronic pain. When certain foods are consumed, particularly those high in refined sugars, saturated fats, and prosaturated omega-6 fatty acids, these markers spike. In contrast, when diets are enriched with anti-inflammatory components like fiber, flavonoids, plant sterols, and omega-3s, those markers decline. What's remarkable is that some plant-based proteins bring all of those components together, making them potent natural tools for managing arthritis. One of the most effective and accessible plant proteins is the lentil. Lentils are a powerhouse of nutrients, including magnesium, folate, and iron, but what makes them unique in the arthritis context is their high concentration of polyphenols, especially tannins and flavonoids. These compounds act as antioxidants that neutralize free radicals and inhibit the release of inflammatory cytokines. In controlled studies, subjects who regularly consumed legumes like lentils showed reduced joint tenderness and stiffness with accompanying declines in CRP levels. What's important here isn't just the protein content, but the synergistic effect of lentils' entire nutrient profile. They don't merely feed the body, they influence immune signaling at the molecular level. Next, consider hemp seeds. Unlike most plant-based options, hemp seeds contain all 9 essential amino acids, qualifying them as a complete protein. But they go far beyond that. Their fatty acid composition is particularly important, rich in alpha-linolenic acid, a plant-based omega-3, and gamma-linolenic acid and omega-6 with unique anti-inflammatory effects. These fats help maintain cell membrane integrity, reduce morning stiffness, and may even lower the dependency on non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs. NSAIDs. Furthermore, the presence of magnesium and zinc in hemp supports muscle relaxation and joint mobility, addressing not only inflammation, but the secondary muscular tension that often accompanies arthritic pain. Finally, quinoa stands out not only for being a complete protein, but also for its anti-inflammatory phytochemicals like quercetin and kaempferol. These flavonoids are studied for their ability to interfere with NF-κB, a signaling molecule that triggers inflammation in nearly every type of chronic disease, including arthritis. Quinoa is also naturally gluten-free, making it a safer option for those with autoimmune joint pain who may also suffer from gluten sensitivity. Consuming quinoa has been linked to lower blood sugar spikes and better lipid profiles, both of which influence inflammation indirectly by stabilizing metabolic function. In sum, integrating these 3 plant-based proteins into your daily meals can do more than just meet nutritional needs. They can systematically help restore balance in the body's inflammatory response. This approach is not about replacing medication overnight, but enhancing your body's resilience through targeted, science-supported nutrition. One of the most powerful yet underappreciated connections in health science today is the relationship between chronic inflammation and neurological pain perception, particularly in arthritis. When someone experiences joint pain daily, what they're often feeling is not just physical wear and tear, but the result of persistent inflammatory signals being relayed to the brain. Over time, this creates a kind of neural sensitization, where even light pressure or mild movement can trigger sharp discomfort. To break this cycle, we must go beyond just treating symptoms and instead look at how to calm the body's inflammatory response at its root. Nutrition, especially protein intake, plays a major role here, not just in providing structural support for joints and muscles, but also in modulating immune and neurological functions that regulate pain. Hemp seeds emerge as a powerful tool in this context. At a molecular level, their unique fatty acid profile helps regulate inflammation in the central nervous system. Gamma-linolenic acid GLA, a rare omega-6 found in hemp, has been shown in studies to reduce pain and swelling in patients with rheumatoid arthritis. What's particularly promising is that GLA works through prostaglandin pathways, chemical messengers that can either ramp up or shut down inflammation. By encouraging the production of anti-inflammatory prostaglandins, hemp seed oil can naturally balance immune activity. Furthermore, hemp seeds contain magnesium, which plays a crucial role in the function of NMDA receptors in the brain. These receptors are involved in pain signaling, and when magnesium levels are adequate, they help buffer the nervous system against hypersensitivity. This creates a real opportunity for those suffering from chronic arthritis to not just experience physical relief, but to gradually reset their brain's pain threshold and improve their quality of life. Quinoa too offers an intriguing dual benefit for arthritis sufferers. While most people consume it for its protein and fiber content, quinoa also provides slow digesting carbohydrates that stabilize blood sugar. This matters because unstable blood sugar and high insulin levels are associated with increased production of inflammatory cytokines. Chronically elevated insulin can lead to higher CRP levels and increased joint discomfort. Quinoa's low glycemic index and rich antioxidant content can help reverse this process. It's also high in lysine, an amino acid crucial for collagen production, which supports joint integrity and tissue repair. Additionally, its anti-inflammatory flavonoids, quercetin and camphorol, have been studied for their neuroprotective effects. And this means that consuming quinoa regularly may not only improve joint function, but could also enhance cognitive clarity, mood, and mental resilience in those suffering from chronic pain conditions. The strategic use of these plant proteins isn't just about nutrient content, it's about understanding timing and synergy. For example, starting the day with quinoa provides slow-burning energy and sets the tone for reduced blood sugar fluctuations, which in turn minimizes inflammatory spikes throughout the day. Incorporating hemp seeds in a midday smoothie or salad supports brain function and sustains energy while helping to suppress inflammatory messengers, and consuming lentils in the evening allows for a powerful dose of polyphenols and amino acids that support tissue repair and immune regulation during sleep, a time when the body naturally undergoes regeneration. Additionally, rotating these proteins instead of relying on one source provides a spectrum of micronutrients and bioactive compounds that keep the body responsive and adaptable. This diversity can help prevent food sensitivities and optimize gut health, which is increasingly recognized as a key player in immune regulation and inflammation control. By integrating this variety of plant proteins into your daily regimen, you're not just eating for energy. You're eating to reduce pain, support brain health, and create an internal environment where healing becomes possible. To truly understand how plant-based proteins can ease arthritis pain, we must first examine the way our immune system responds to internal stress signals. When joints are inflamed, it's not just a local event, it's systemic. Immune cells release pro-cellulatory cytokines like interleukin-6, TNF-alpha, and CRP, which flood the bloodstream and intensify pain not only in the joints but across the body. One of the most effective ways to disrupt this cycle is through nutrient-dense anti-inflammatory foods. Lentils, often dismissed as simple legumes, are in fact biochemical powerhouses. They are rich in fiber, iron, magnesium, and folate. But their polyphenol content is what makes them particularly impactful in managing arthritis. Polyphenols, such as tannins and flavonoids, work as antioxidants, neutralizing free radicals that contribute to cellular damage in joints. More importantly, these compounds influence gene expression related to inflammation. In lab studies, lentils have shown to suppress the activity of NF-κB, a transcription factor that acts like an on/off switch for inflammatory genes. When this pathway is quieted, the release of pain-inducing chemicals slows down, allowing for a natural decline in swelling and stiffness. Moreover, the high fiber in lentils supports gut health by promoting beneficial bacteria, which themselves produce short-chain fatty acids that reduce systemic inflammation. This gut-joint axis is a new frontier in arthritis research. By nurturing the microbiome, lentils provide an indirect but powerful method to manage joint pain. What's equally crucial is that lentils are low on the glycemic index. This means they provide sustained energy without spiking blood sugar. Elevated glucose is a hidden inflammatory driver that many people overlook. When blood sugar fluctuates wildly, it leads to higher insulin levels, which activate inflammatory pathways. A bowl of lentils, particularly in the evening, helps stabilize metabolism and reduces the overnight inflammation that can lead to morning. Adding spices like turmeric and ginger to lentil dishes can further amplify the anti-inflammatory effect. This approach is not about quick fixes, but about using food in a strategic, biologically informed way to calm the immune system and support tissue regeneration. Equally important in the arthritis relief toolkit is the modulation of the nervous system. Pain is not only a physical sensation, it's a signal interpreted by the brain, and when that brain is constantly being bombarded by inflammatory messages, it adapts by becoming more sensitive. This is called central sensitization, and it explains why some arthritis patients feel severe pain even with minimal joint degeneration. Plant-based proteins like hemp seeds and quinoa can help recalibrate this pain signaling. Hemp seeds contain not just protein, but also magnesium, zinc, and omega-3 fatty acids. These nutrients directly influence neurotransmitter function and reduce neuroinflammation. Magnesium, in particular, acts as a natural NMDA receptor antagonist, which means it can reduce the brain's overreaction to pain signals. Furthermore, zinc plays a role in the modulation of synaptic transmission, supporting balanced brain chemistry and reducing anxiety often associated with chronic illness. Chronic pain is emotionally taxing, and when emotional stress compounds physical pain, the experience becomes even more debilitating. That's why nutritional strategies that support both brain and body are key to sustainable relief. Hemp seeds, when consumed regularly, offer a balance of protein, healthy fats, and micronutrients that make them uniquely suited for people managing arthritis. Whether added to breakfast bowls, smoothies, or salads, they deliver consistent support without contributing to the acidic load that often comes from high animal protein intake. The beauty of this approach lies in its simplicity. By combining lentils, hemp seeds, and quinoa in a thoughtful rotational meal plan, individuals with arthritis can address pain through multiple pathways: immunological, neurological, and metabolic, without reliance on synthetic medications. These foods, backed by science and shaped by nature, offer a daily opportunity to feel stronger, move better, and live with less pain. The human body is remarkably adaptive, especially when supported with the right nutrients. For those battling arthritis, one of the most critical steps toward relief is reducing chronic inflammation that wears down joint tissue and amplifies pain sensitivity. While medications may offer short-term relief, they often come with side effects and don't address the root biological imbalances. That's where nutrition, and specifically plant-based proteins, becomes a powerful tool. Unlike heavily processed foods or high-acid animal proteins, certain plant-based sources offer anti-inflammatory and regenerative benefits at the cellular level. Hemp seeds, lentils, and quinoa not only provide essential amino acids needed for muscle and joint maintenance, but also deliver fatty acids, fiber, antioxidants, and minerals that work in harmony with the body's healing systems. The underlying science begins with inflammation markers like CRP and TNF-alpha-2, key proteins that spike in arthritic conditions. Elevated levels are associated with more intense joint pain, reduced mobility, and fatigue. However, studies consistently show that individuals consuming a plant-forward diet rich in legumes, seeds, and whole grains have significantly lower levels of these markers. Hemp seeds in particular offer a unique advantage with a perfect 3:1 ratio of omega-6 to omega-3 fatty acids. They create an anti-hemorrhage environment that not only protects joint cartilage, but also promotes healthier blood vessels, improving nutrient delivery to affected areas. Gamma-linolenic acid, LAAN, a rare fatty acid found in hemp, has been studied for its ability to reduce joint tenderness and swelling, especially in autoimmune arthritis. Quinoa, on the other hand, acts as both a protein source and an inflammation modulator. It contains two powerful flavonoids, quercetin and camphorol, which are known to downregulate inflammatory genes through the inhibition of NF-κB, the master switch of inflammation. These bioactive compounds are often compared to pharmaceutical anti-inflammatories in their ability to reduce oxidative stress and joint degradation. Quinoa is also rich in B vitamins and magnesium, which aid in energy production, muscle relaxation, and sleep quality, critical factors for people living with chronic pain. Consuming quinoa regularly has shown promise in lowering blood sugar and insulin levels, indirectly reducing inflammatory load, and preventing the metabolic triggers that worsen joint pain. While quinoa and hemp seeds modulate inflammation through fat and antioxidant pathways, lentils contribute a unique advantage via the gut immune axis. The high fiber content of lentils feeds beneficial gut bacteria, which in turn produce short-chain fatty acids like butyrate. These compounds have been shown to suppress systemic inflammation and support the intestinal barrier, preventing the leaky gut effect that contributes to autoimmune flare-ups and chronic joint pain. Lentils are also rich in iron and folate, key nutrients for energy metabolism and cellular cellular repair. Their low glycemic index ensures stable blood sugar, which reduces the spikes in insulin that can amplify inflammatory signaling. Regular inclusion of lentils in the diet has been associated with improved mobility, reduced stiffness, and better long-term pain management. What's also important to recognize is that these plant-based proteins work best when consumed strategically. The timing of protein intake affects inflammation and recovery. A morning smoothie with hemp seeds and berries provides anti-inflammatory fats and antioxidants that prepare the body for daily stressors. A midday quinoa bowl with leafy greens stabilizes glucose levels and reduces midday crashes that can trigger cortisol spikes. And a warm lentil soup in the evening supports muscle repair, gut health, and overnight immune function. This kind of intentional meal planning not only improves nutritional status, but also aligns with the body's natural circadian rhythm, enhancing overall healing capacity. Ultimately, managing arthritis through diet isn't just about what to avoid, it's about what to include. By embracing plant-based proteins that serve multiple functions, from reducing oxidative stress to balancing the gut microbiome and supporting neural calm, you create an internal environment where healing is not only possible, but sustainable. This is nutrition, not as a trend, but as a long-term strategy rooted in science and aligned with the body's own intelligence. Pain is not always a simple mechanical response to damage. In arthritis, pain becomes chronic because the immune system and nervous system engage in a continuous feedback loop that amplifies sensitivity and prolongs inflammation. To reverse this, it's not enough to focus on just joint structure. We must also influence how the brain and immune system interpret stress, injury, and healing. Nutrients found in specific plant-based proteins can help downregulate this loop at multiple points. Proteins like those found in quinoa, lentils, and hemp seeds do more than build tissue. They also supply micronutrients and bioactive compounds that speak the body's biochemical language, turning down the inflammatory volume from the inside out. For instance, quinoa is much more than a carbohydrate alternative. It's a complete protein containing all 9 essential amino acids, making it incredibly valuable for muscle repair and connective tissue health. But what's particularly relevant to arthritis sufferers is quinoa's antioxidant load, specifically the compounds quercetin and camphorol. These natural flavonoids have been shown to inhibit inflammation at the genetic level, particularly the expression of cytokines and enzymes that drive joint destruction. In addition, quinoa is high in magnesium and phosphorus, minerals that help with energy metabolism, nerve conduction, and bone strength. These nutrients work together to create a more resilient musculoskeletal system, which is critical in managing degenerative joint conditions. And then there are lentils, one of the most ancient and nutrient-dense legumes available. Lentils offer a high concentration of plant protein along with fiber, iron, and polyphenols. What makes lentils unique in the arthritis context is their gut supportive effect. Their fiber content fosters a healthier gut microbiome, which in turn produces short-chain fatty acids like butyrate. Butyrate plays a key role in lowering systemic inflammation, improving intestinal barrier function, and preventing autoimmune triggers from escaping the gut lining and causing flare-ups in the joints. Lentils also have a stabilizing effect on blood sugar levels. When glucose is balanced, the hormonal and inflammatory responses in the body are calmer. This translates into fewer inflammatory spikes that could otherwise irritate already sensitive joints. Hemp seeds deserve special attention for their omega-3 and omega-6 content, which is rare in plant foods. Unlike many oils and processed snacks that promote an imbalance in fatty acids, hemp seeds have the ideal ratio that supports anti-inflammatory processes. Gamma-linolenic acid, GLA, found in hemp can directly reduce joint tenderness, especially in individuals with autoimmune types of arthritis like RA. Moreover, hemp seeds provide zinc and magnesium, 2 minerals often depleted in people with chronic inflammation. Zinc is necessary for immune regulation and tissue healing, while magnesium helps regulate pain perception by supporting neurotransmitter function. Together, these elements not only reduce inflammation, but also enhance the body's recovery capacity. Importantly, the benefit of these plant-based proteins doesn't only come from their individual nutrients, it's about how they interact with biological rhythms and daily habits. A high-protein breakfast with quinoa and berries can improve insulin sensitivity, reduce cortisol spikes, and set a steady anti-inflammatory tone for the day. Midday meals that include lentils can deliver sustained energy, stable blood glucose, and gut health support when the digestive system is most active. Evening meals with hemp seeds, perhaps blended into a smoothie with turmeric or cacao, can help calm the nervous system, reduce oxidative stress, and promote deeper, more restorative sleep, a time when the body does the majority of its tissue repair and immune modulation. This approach, when practiced consistently, creates a foundation for long-term inflammation management. Instead of relying solely on painkillers or short-term interventions, the focus shifts toward building cellular strength, immune balance, and neurological stability. Plant-based proteins offer a multi-layered advantage. They nourish, protect, and recalibrate the body's most essential systems. For those living with arthritis, these aren't just food choices. They're a strategy for reclaiming movement, reducing pain, and rebuilding quality of life from the inside out.